And Sarah, just when you get to your part, just kind of cue me when to move on, okay? So we're all on the same page. All righty, here we go. Let's see. Share. All right, can everybody see my screen? Awesome. All right, here we go. Advising for Associate General Studies. So I guess if you're joining us today, you are an advisor for General Studies, or maybe you just want more information about the General Studies program overall. So this is what our purpose is today, is to help you and understand better our program and what we have and where we're going, I guess, more importantly. So where we are and where we're headed. So Spring 23 is our meeting. The purpose of this meeting is to update advisors so we can increase graduates, y'all. That's our main purpose of the reason why we're here, is to get students through to graduation. So we want to increase graduates. We want to reduce their time to graduate, and look for possible roadblocks that students might be finding along the way. Because a lot of these students are just advising themselves, which is problematic because they think they know more than they do sometimes, and they think they can just navigate it on their own. So we really want to encourage advisors to work with their students, to send them notices, send them notifications that advising is now, come and meet with us. We're here to help you. So we don't have any hiccups that we see, that Dean McZill and Sarah and I see on the back end when degree audits are completed and students are unable to graduate when they think they are. So those are some of the roadblocks we want to look out for. So basically our little general studies department is Dr. Stacia Herbert McZill. She's the Dean of Liberal Arts and Humanities. You want to say anything, Dr. McZill?
The most important thing is to just really try to be that intrusive advisor and ask those hard questions and guide the students as best you can. It may mean that you may have to go to different university websites so that we can make sure we're getting the students in the right classes. So just, it may take a little more time. If you're here because you just want to understand the general studies program, I thank you for that too, because that's important that we know all the different programs that we have at the college to speak to supporting the students.
Thank you. I'm Rebecca Galloway. I'm the chair of AGS and now education. I'll talk a little bit about that. And Sarah Sinnett is the AGS program coordinator. So like Dr. McZill said, if you might have to look some other places for information. If you have any questions, Sarah and I are available, like with questions, answers, and if not, we can point you in the right direction. Usually we can either get the information if we don't have it from Dr. McZill, or for sure Courtney, who knows everything about everything that's ever been written in higher education. So guided pathways. I'm just trying to pull up everything right here. Okay, so let's see. So we defined a set of courses that we want to reduce confusion and clearly direct students towards specific academic goals. Transferring efficiently to other institutions, completing their goals at our school, and then moving on to whatever school they're going to. And then clarity, so students know what's expected, the advisor knows what they're saying, and there's the loss in communication is minimized. SLCC has partnerships with some four-year institutions. We have some with UL, we have some with Northwestern, and we have one with Nichols as well. So most of our students go to UL because it's here. This is what they're comfortable doing. A lot of them don't have the money to go live someplace else. But Northwestern is doing a really good job of working with our students, recruiting them, wanting them to come over to Northwestern through their online program. So keep them in mind. Sarah has the contact for the Northwestern folks that you, if your students are interested in, she can get you in contact with whomever you need at Northwestern. So she has all of that information. So this past semester, the general studies team has been meeting so that we can come up with two plus two, not program discussions. That should be pathways. Sorry about that error. I have to get that corrected. We're looking for pathways. We do have some 2+2s, but we're looking for pathways in education. Under general studies. So some of the ones we're looking at are engineering. Tanya has been working very hard on getting that completed with UL. It's going to be AGS engineering pathway. We are bringing education courses back to SLCC. We've implemented our first course this semester, Education 1040. It's a worldview of teaching and learning. It's a fantastic class. I had the pleasure of sitting on that class this week, and it was fantastic. In the fall, we're going to offer 2 education classes, and we hope to expand 1 or 2 more so that students can have a pathway in education to the university. Education is a big, important issue in our area. I'm sure it's national and state as well, but locally, I know I can speak to this. The education, they're desperate for teachers, y'all. They really are. The K through 12 system is desperate for teachers. They're recruiting whoever they can get because they've lost so many teachers in these past few years. So education is going to be a big push. A lot of our students are interested in kinesiology. We've been working with someone at UL in kinesiology. And the thing about kinesiology, though, is there's so many paths they can take once they're there at UL. And we can't get into all the available pathways that they have because it's too many for us. So we're going to try and focus mostly on kinesiology as an education in the education fields for those folks who want to be coaches and work in the K through 12 system. We might have some other courses that students can take, but the kinesiology is so broad at UL that we can't possibly encompass all the ones that they have going on. So our focus is going to be kinesiology in education. And then we're going to expand on that a little bit when we can. Biology, we have a program already with in biology. It's a 2+2 actually, right? I think Celeste is in here, right, Celeste?
I don't.
Yep.
I was gonna- I don't think that was ever formalized, but I have to look. But we were pushing before for 2+2 with UL, but I'm not sure it's on in our website. I didn't see it on our website. We do have ASLT, but not.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. The Louisiana transfer. So we need to fix that as well.
We have one in business.
Yeah. But that's the 2+, but that's under the business. It's in the business department. It's not going to be AGS business. So that would be like Nancy's department to have do that talk, I guess.
We use
yes,
environmental science 2+2 though.
Say that again.
Environmental science, and that's on our website.
Yeah, environmental science. Yeah.
Yeah, they're on the website, but we're not gonna promote it. The website is not the most current. There's like a lot of things on the website that we need to take off, but we're meeting on that 2+2 this week, Celeste. So once we meet on that, they'll determine executive will if we're gonna sign it, renew it.
Yes, ma'am. Yes. So it's still a little bit on the old side. So yeah, it's there, but the biology is not. But I don't know if it was ever signed, so I have to check.
Okay. Well, anyway, we're going to focus on pathways. That's our words we're going to use because it's very important that we're not using majors or anything like that. But SACS is very strict about the terminology we can use. So we're going to be using the term guided pathways. We're also having intrusive advising. We need to check in early with students and often to make sure they're on the clear path. And let's see, go back to previous. Yeah, so students can feel secure in their investment in their education. When they're not feeling secure, they feel unsteady, is when they start to really have issues and problems because they want to know, they want a path forward and they don't know how to find it for themselves. So the more we can do to help them early and check in with them, the better off they're going to be, they're going to be served. So please do that as much as possible. This is just the HES curriculum plan that's linked in our catalog. And I see the link is, oh, yeah, it's working. Okay, here it is. So this is available in our catalog. You can.
Sorry to interrupt you really quickly, Rebecca. You're not sharing the catalog. We can't see the actual degree plan right now.
Okay, well, that's good to know.
I didn't want to let you get too far. So.
Yeah, no, thank you for telling me. I don't know why it's not showing. So that's okay. I'll just gonna leave that alone for now. Did I just lose everybody? No? Are y'all seeing my screen at all, Sarah?
We're seeing the PowerPoint, but we're not seeing the degree plan.
Okay, that's okay. So I can go to the, we're going to just leave that there for now. The degree plan we'll kind of get to in a minute, so I'll keep going. So basically this is, the degree plan is broken down into two parts. The first part is the major courses that students are required to take, and no Ds are permitted in their major courses. There's no exceptions. They have to pass each one with a C or better in order to graduate. So of course, English 1010, English 1020. Students are eligible to take either Math 105 or Math 2020. It's up to them, whichever they prefer. As an advisor, we recommend to them that they take college algebra because they're going to need it when they get to the four-year institution. So please get them on their way with making sure that they've taken college algebra at SLCC. They can take stats as an elective math. They'll need a separate math at UL anyway. So they can use algebra and statistics, but please encourage them to take algebra at SLCC if they're planning to transfer to the four-year institution. And a lot of times our students may think they're not going to go to the four-year, and they will, they're just not going now. So we want to prepare them just in advance as best we can. So just highly encourage them if you can. They need a fine arts elective. Everything except for Arts 2000 is considered a fine arts elective. For some reason, it didn't get Sachs's blessing. Courtney tried to explain it and re-explain it in the last meeting, but they didn't get Sachs's blessing, so they're not in fine arts for the major courses. They need 2 physical sciences, and they can choose any 2 that they wish to take. When they get to the university, they're going to need 9 hours, right? And they're going to have 2. They're going to need 2 from the same discipline and 1 from a different one. So we want to look at that as well. Get them taking 6 hours. Maybe they want to take another science as an elective because they're going to need it at the 4 years. So you can encourage them to take a science because they will need it. And then 6 hours of social behavioral science credits, and the courses are listed there. We'll get to some of the sociology stuff in a minute. Just so we don't have any confusion, because sociology was 1010 and then it changed to 2010 and now it's back to 1010. So there's a lot of confusion with that. So students can't get that credit for that course twice, even though it's different numbers, it's the same course. And they often get confused by that. Any questions? Nope. Okay. Okay. This is the degree plan in essence, that the one I tried to link to, but this is just broken down so you can see it closer up visually. Then they have the elective courses. So students are required to get 33 hours of elective credit courses, and they can choose from any of the courses listed in the elective credit category. So it's up to them which they want to take. In the elective credit category, they can have up to 2 Ds in that they can use to graduate, but they're not going to be transferable. So they may want to retake it, but if they don't want to retake it, that's fine. They can leave it as a D and move on. So this is just a, try to move this out the way so I can see. So here's like a little situations that I did 2 little sample audits. I wanted to show you all of graduation audits that we've done. If we look at sample student 1, right, this is really a real graduation audit that we've conducted. So the student has not even close to enough credits to graduate. The student got a letter from the registrar's office because the student had credits from another program. I don't know what other program at SLCC, but she had another, but it was on the technical side. So she had the credits, and she received a letter from the registrar's office saying that she might be eligible to graduate. So I don't know if she talked to an advisor, didn't talk to an advisor. The student applied for graduation, and then she was denied, and she was very upset because she was denied graduation, even though clearly we can see she wasn't even close to meeting the requirements that are needed to graduate with an associate's degree. So just because please do not, if a student emails you and says, I received a letter from the registrar's office that says I might be eligible to graduate, don't say, okay, that sounds good, and let it go at that. Say, oh, okay, that sounds great. Why don't you come in? Why don't we meet online and we can go over your degree audit together beforehand. So don't just let it go, because too many students get caught in the trap here, thinking they can graduate because they have over 60 credits, but they're not in the transfer side and they're not part of the AGS program. Questions about that? So we could see she only has 39. This person's clearly not going to graduate. They need at least 2 more semesters to graduate from SLCC, but still believe that they were going to graduate. So and then when they don't, they're very disillusioned by it because they believe that this was going to happen. And by the time they get notification that they're not graduating, they've already ordered cookies and cakes and all those other things. And so then they're really upset when it comes time and they can't graduate. To submit, so the student would have enough for an associate's degree with her technical field studies, right? No, she would not have enough credits with an associate's degree. You want to ask your question on the mic?
That was pretty much the question I was asking. I guess I'm completely confused because I thought once a student had finished their technical degree, they only had, I don't remember it all right offhand. I'd have to go look at the sheets, but I thought they could get associates. Let's see, I don't know if she's applying. Okay. Because I thought she could get, or whoever could get it technically as an associate's as long as they took their English, their math. And then I think it's like 1 more semester of classes. I thought once they had a technical diploma, they could add those, basically the general requirements, and they got an associate's. But I think that's, yeah, so that's what I was asking. So they can get an associate's, just not an AGS degree.
Correct.
Okay. That's
It would
what
be
I thought.
their own program.
Okay, thank you.
That associate degree called Associate Degree of Technical Studies.
Okay,
So-
thank you, Sam.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a totally different degree plan than what we're talking about right here. So, okay, good. Glad we got your question answered. Anybody else questions? When I'm presenting, I don't see the chat, so I can't see what's going on over in the chat. I just saw Michaela's little pop-up thing come up in this corner, so it caught my eye, but then it went away right away and I didn't see the chat. So let me know if anything, Sarah, is going on in the chat that I can't see. Okay, so moving on, let's go sample 2 student. So we look at this student, right? This one's trickier because this student has 59 credits and is 1 credit short for graduation. This is where it gets really slippery. I mean, it's like, and students are really confused about what's going on. because they were misadvised somewhere along the way, and they are 1 credit short to graduate. So this student actually only had 59 credits. We tried every which way possible to try and come up with one more credit, and we just couldn't do it. Couldn't come together so that the student can graduate. Even though it was an advising error, even though it was a student error, all of those things happened, and the student was legitimately in a place of frustration, which I understood. We can't let anybody graduate without the 60 credit hours necessary to graduate with an Associate of General Studies. So please check, please double check. Sometimes those 1 credit courses with the labs, and this one with 1 credit, and this one might have 4 credits. Always give them credits if they have, take Spanish and they get 4, then count that, but they have to meet the minimum number of 60. Questions? Okay, so Sarah, you want me to keep sharing, or are you going to share?
I'll go ahead and share from here.
Okay.
Let me see if I can steal this from you.
I just got out.
Okay, let's see.
I'll
Let me see
monitor
if
the chat. I'll monitor
Let
the
me-
chat.
All right.
Okay.
All
Yeah.
right, great. Let me jump down. That'll be better because I want to pull through DegreeWorks.
Okay. Also, can you make your screen bigger? Are we seeing? So anyway, make it.
Of course. No, that's no good. That makes it crazy for me. How's that? Is that any better?
No, but I mean, maybe once you start sharing, it'll. I mean, yeah, slideshow. Yeah, maybe that'll help.
How's this?
Better. Thank you.
Here.
Okay.
Okay. Let's see what we're on. Okay, so one of the things that students really love about our general studies program. Previous. Dang it. I hate slideshow for this reason, by the way. Okay, slideshow from current slide. Is that it's available completely online. This draws a lot of students in from, outside the greater Lafayette area. And it's a really big feature. A lot of students tell me that they actually come to SLCC because there is so much available for them online. And these online credits, there's no real difference in terms of the credit weight, right? A student can take an online history and it functions exactly the same as an in-person history. It doesn't have any sort of credit difference. It's not applied differently. The only thing that you need to make sure to tell students when they want to take an online class is that often, frankly, they are a little bit more difficult. Because of the fact that you have to check in quite a bit, we have to meet certain requirements when building online classes. The student has to do a lot of self-monitoring. They are 100% responsible for a lot of keeping up with the course. They're not going to have quite as much checking in. And in terms of understanding and content, if a student isn't really strong in a subject, I usually discourage them from taking an online course. So if they come in and they say, man, I really don't like history, right? I'm going to take one because I'm thinking about doing this and I'll need it for this, but I don't like history and I find it really difficult. And I see that they've signed up for an online program or an online course in history. I'll tell them, that's probably going to be a challenge for you. You might consider not actually doing that. Any questions or comments on online programs before I move on? Okay. And I see what you mean about the chat now, Rebecca. So if you'll help me out if it comes up, that'd be great. Okay, DegreeWorks. DegreeWorks is sort of our student transcript monitoring program. I don't know exactly what you would call it per se. Is this all of DegreeWorks? All right. Here we go. Very strange. But it has its pluses and its minuses. For those of you who do advising already, maybe you're familiar with DegreeWorks. I should point out too that this is the same program that is used by ULL. So if they are intent on transferring, it's beneficial for them to become familiar with DegreeWorks as they're going to move on. The big advantage of DegreeWorks is that the students have access to it too. So that the students can be hopefully checking in, monitoring their own progress. And it does have some features that are specific that I can show you in just a minute. But the disadvantages of DegreeWorks is that it's mostly manually updated, right? That means there's still a lot of human error that goes into DegreeWorks. Things like transfer credits or courses that are in the fall through section may or may not actually apply. And it's up to you, the advisor, or you can reach out to us to know when a course is really going to apply and when it's not. This becomes particularly important around graduation. So I can't stress this enough. If a student is applying for graduation, just use the transcript, especially if DegreeWorks is denying them graduation, right? If they're saying, oh, you're missing 3 courses or 1 course, go to the transcript, do it the old-fashioned way. Hang on one second. I'm going to share a page with a sample of DegreeWorks. So this is a student. Are you guys seeing? This is okay, good. Thank you, Rebecca. This is a student who's an associate in general studies. And one of the things that's really great about DegreeWorks is that it's very much organized along the same lines as a degree plan. So if you're a visual person like I am, this is really helpful. You can see it already organizes and places things in terms of the degree plan, just like Rebecca showed us, general education, and then general studies elective requirements. And then they'll have different sections like fall through, right? Now we can see here that none of these are actually applied towards an AGS because they're technical, right? These are cosmetology essentially degrees or courses right here. And then we'll have things like over the limit. This is great too because most students tend to confuse. They look at their transcript, oh, I have 60 credits. But really on the transcript, you're seeing these remediation classes, these below 1,000 classes being counted when they actually don't count towards graduation. DegreeWorks will actually sample and pull that out for you. So another really cool, feature of DegreeWorks is the what if. So let's say you have a student they've been doing associates in general studies, they want to change to a different program. You can go to this what if feature, select your catalog year, it's just here, and select a whole new program. Let's say they want to do business administration. We process that, right? And then we can see how those credits that they have would apply to a new program and where they would need to go from there. However, as I mentioned before, DegreeWorks definitely has some problems with it. For starters, DegreeWorks tends to count in progress classes in accumulating and tallying up the amount that you need towards graduation. This can be really confusing to students because let's say they have 45 credits, but 15 of those are included in credits that they are currently taking. Well, they're going to get an email from the registrar because they've hit a certain number of credits that they might be eligible to graduate. And then the student will apply, get denied, and be upset with us. A good way to use DegreeWorks to get rid of this problem is simply to take the in progress and pre-registered classes out as a feature and then process those. Yes, so I like DegreeWorks quite a bit, but then again, I was trained on DegreeWorks. It is something that I encourage students to use, but again, I don't encourage faculty to rely solely on it. Any questions on DegreeWorks? No? All right. All right. So one of the reasons why it's important, trying to make sure I don't, okay, for us to have a basic understanding of what we need to do for students is because there are still odd classes, especially for students who may have attended SLCC in the past, that have different coding, that have different ways of, what's the word I'm looking for, Rebecca? different labels often for the same courses. We need to be aware of those for what counts and what doesn't count, because DegreeWorks is not always going to do it for us. So things that do count, things like medical terminology, HLSC 2103, speech 1010 is interchangeable for communications 1013. So if you see a student, by the way, that is signed up, that has speech 1010, and they've signed up for communications 1013, tell them to drop communications 1013 because it counts exactly the same way. However, speech 1200 can't be used in the same way as communications 1013. It can only be used as an elective, not to fill the gen ed requirements. Also, things like health that counts towards a social science. And this is the same as SFSE, right? This would count because it's above a 1000 level. If this was COLS 0001, it would not count because only classes above 1000 level can count towards graduation. And then pre-K classes, of course, count as well. Any questions on this slide? All right. Now, classes that don't count that often confuse students are things like digital media. Our digital media classes do not count towards a general studies degree. Healthcare, nursing, computers, also anything below that 1000. So here's the example I used before. And then care and development of young children. Be on the lookout for some of these when you're doing those degree audits for your students, hopefully towards graduation. These are things that don't necessarily count, but students will get confused by, right? They'll take those digital media classes and think that they do actually count, that they're like a fine art. Or they'll think that that care and development of young children is more like an education class. Computers for microcomputing applications, that kind of thing. So if you have questions on that, by all means, please reach out to me or Rebecca or Stasia or whomever. We're happy to look at that for you. We're happy to help your students. Questions on these? Oh, yes, and technical, by the way, credits do not apply. So the cosmetology degree credits that we saw, anything from a technical college. All right, so these are our extra special notes. Rebecca mentioned this first one already. Things like, or second one, excuse me, sociology. Did someone steal this from me? That's odd. Sorry. Okay. Don't know why I did that. Sociology began as a 1010. Now it was a 2020. Now it's a 1010 again. Just be on the lookout because we can't count those courses twice. Also, psychology 1010 and psychology 2010 are exactly the same thing. Students will think they're taking a different course. And to be fair to the students, sometimes you'd think you didn't notice it was intro to psychology again. But a lot of students leave, they come back, it's been a while, so they don't realize that they've actually enrolled in the same course twice. This happens a lot more than you would think. And then the student is frustrated and angry because no one advised them differently. Students looking to transfer with a science background or continue on in science courses at ULL, you need to be extra careful with because they have certain labs like the chemistry lab here, Chem 1031 and 1041. Those are 1 credit each here at SLCC. But they must take both labs to receive the 115 general chemistry lab 2 credit course at ULL. They just take one, they won't get that transfer. Things like Geology 1010 will come Geology 105, Geology 1010 and 1011 will transfer as 111. Also things like the physics, right? Physics 1000, that is our non-majors physics. But at SLCC, if they're going to go and do physics as a concentration, as a focus, or go later on, they'll need to take 2070, which is trigonometry based, and it's physics based. So they'll have to have this course as opposed to this one. Rebecca, are there any others that have cropped up that we know about?
No, I just want to add to the physics comment. That's also going to apply to kinesiology as well, right? So that would be like the kinesiology students, if they can't take biology 1000 and get credit for it at UL, they need to, it has to be a biology for majors. The same thing is going to apply with physics. They're going to have physics 4 majors if they plan to go into a kinesiology program or some kind of healthcare program at UL.
Thank you.
Rebecca, what about that geography rule? What was that situation with your son?
Yeah, that's a mess, but this is what Ariel came up with right here. It's geology. 1010 will transfer as we will turn
Oh.
off our physics-based calculus. Oh, wow.
Oh,
Okay.
that's fantastic.
Yeah. So the way Ariel has it written here is the way it should transfer. She did some research into it, and this is what it was. So my son had taken, he'd taken 1010, and then he took geology, I don't know, another geology course, and they wouldn't accept both of them because he needed 1010 and 1011 to transfer as geology 112 because it's a geology at UL now is 4 credits, and at SLCC it's 3 credits. So there's a 1 credit differential. Celeste says geology 1030, so he must have taken geology 1030 and 1010, and they would not take both of those because he needed, if he wanted to bring in his geology 1010, he needed to have it as 4 credits.
So yes, when
Want to
you're
add anything else to any of this special science stuff?
No.
Nope.
okay, we'll move along. All right. So when we do intrusive advising, I wanted to kind of piggyback on some of what Rebecca was saying early about how to get in contact, to be as aggressive as we possibly can, to get our students on the right path right away. One thing that I've learned recently in some conferences that I've been attending is that students who take courses and have focus, they feel like they're working towards a more specific goal, overwhelmingly tend to graduate more than students who don't. Those students who just come in, they don't really have a plan. Not only do they, not feel secure in their investment, they're a lot less likely to graduate. So we need to be trying to capture students on the front end. The best we can do is just email, follow up, call, whatever. Make them also aware of upcoming deadlines. Things like when priority registration starts, which this semester is going to be March 14th, when they can withdraw, which, by the way, the last day for student-initiated withdrawal is the 11th. And of course, the graduation deadlines, which has already passed for us. It's March 1st for this semester. And again, repeating what Rebecca had said before, when you contact your students about possibly graduating, contact them and make sure to use the language of speak to your advisor, please come talk to me, right? That this might be a possibility for you because there's a lot of error that can occur in there. A good way to actually do this is through Starfish. Starfish is a great platform for advising. You can keep log of your advising sessions with students. You still will have to use WebEx as a separate platform, but you can also use Starfish for batch emails in a way that's very effective. So you can go and email all of your advisees at once very efficiently through Starfish. Another thing I'd like to point out is that when you're trying to encourage students to stay on top of those deadlines, to go ahead and get registered, to be the first in line to try to hit that priority registration if they're eligible for it. If not, to be first in line at open registration, which, by the way, this semester is actually March 20th, that they can go ahead and register for summer and fall at the same time, right? Especially if they're interested in taking summer courses, push them as hard as possible because those tend to fill up very, very quickly. And then students can kind of go off path. Yes, Stasia.
Although students have already started registering for summer, we are doing what is called the PAW, the pre-advising week next week. And we've asked that faculty advisors contact their students through Starfish to set up those pre-advising appointments so that the students can meet with them in advance prior to priority registration that starts on the 13th. So all the deans are sending out that information to their faculty, and we want to try to get maybe 75% of our students going through PAW. We're doing some backdoor contests that the deans know about, so we're going to be able to see notes in Starfish to see, you know, who had the most students sign up, who had the most students that they met with next week, so that we can try to push those students. So we're pushing for fall. We're pushing for fall for sure, but we're also trying to grab them to see, hey, look, you might be like 1 or 2 classes short of graduating in the fall. Why don't you take a summer class? So we're trying to build up summer enrollment at the same time as trying to get them to register early for fall so that we can focus on adding more classes if necessary.
Awesome. Another thing you can do, by the way, which I tend to do, is when I'm doing my classroom announcements and in my capacity as an instructor, I include those deadlines not only in the syllabus, but when I'm just telling them, hey, you have a test coming up. Also, don't forget graduation. If you think you're a candidate, please reach out to your advisor. And that has a twofold effect of hopefully students reaching out to their advisor, but I get a lot of students from my classrooms that end up coming to me and doing degree plans for them and am I eligible? So it's another way to be a lot more intrusive because you have that kind of good rapport and contact with your actual students that you teach. You can use DegreeWorks as a very efficient, easy first step, but if it becomes clear that they're close to graduation, again, please just use the transcript at this point. Any questions on this?
Sarah, I just want to add that please don't be just, you send out the obligatory, I'm your advisor, the email through Starfish that you're required to do because you've got an email from Office of Academic Affairs saying now's the time to do this, and you send out that one announcement. Please follow up more rigorously than that. Get with your students, especially those that you've been in contact with and might be on track for graduation. We need to go further than just sending out that one email announcement through Starfish.
Yeah, and the ability to do those batch emails is really useful. I've used it to reach out to my students and advisees to tell about internship opportunities and all kinds of stuff. So it really is a great resource if people use it consistently, like Rebecca's saying. Oh, so I'm sorry, Celeste popped up a little in the chat. Can you clarify what you're asking?
Can I also ask that we have new courses? Celeste, what are you asking?
I know I'm requesting our our office in terms of an advising office also to because we do have new courses as alternative things to have our advisors be aware that every time you might want to look into Lola because we do have courses popping in and out in terms of in terms of our development as a college. So we do have botany course, and that's a science major course. We do have we will have the physics-based the calculus-based physics, which are actually for chemistry majors, physics majors, engineering majors. Those are needed.
Celeste, can you maybe like draft up a flyer and have Tanya send it to all the deans and we can get it out to the faculty for next week? Also, too, you may want to get with Anne Falgood to see if she can put something on Facebook. And then once you draft up that flyer, you can have the dean in your area send it, or the assistant send it to e-learning, and they can post it on Canvas, the Canvas dashboard, so that you can try to get more traction that way.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. I'll do that.
Because I won't remember those new classes just listening to you, so I need it in front so I can tape it to the wall.
I know. I've actually contacted some. Oh God. Yeah.
And Stasia, while we're on the subject of this, Anne is asking in the chat. She's saying that the link that was sent out for
Yeah,
the
I saw
advising
that.
link.
And what I did yesterday when I went to the directions, I just kind of used the template that was already there in the example that said introduce myself as their advisor and said, let's meet next week, sign up, and it worked. There was a letter, but I don't know what happened to it. But if you use the instructions, there's actually some language in the instructions that's perfect to just slip in there and send to the students. I actually got 2 students respond to me, and I just mailed that out yesterday, so I'm excited.
Awesome. Also, since we're kind of on the subject of courses that count, everybody, we do have a new education course that we offered this semester for the first time, EDUC 1040, and then we'll offer 2 in the fall as well. I mentioned that before, but those credits count towards the Associated General Studies. No,
We're getting a negatory from stage.
No, they do count, but I don't want her to mention that new one that everybody's excited about. The new
Oh, no,
course.
I didn't say that one. I'm just talking about education. Okay.
Yeah,
there's
we
that.
got a new one that's coming out for everybody, but you're gonna hear
I'm not
about
gonna
it
talk about that
at
one.
the end of the semester because we have to find a way to accommodate faculty and staff who really want to take this new class. Like Rebecca wants to be in the class, but it's an awesome new class. So people on curriculum know about it, but we're gonna advertise it if we can actually increase, we can get her to do more classes. We can offer it to our faculty and our staff, but
Okay.
it's a great class, y'all.
Yeah, okay, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about education. So yes, encourage, even if students just want to take it as a general education elective, they're welcome to do so. Please encourage them to take education, either the education classes. So we're excited about those. We're excited about the opportunities that it's going to provide students. Anyhow, Sarah, that's all I'm going to say.
No, this is great. Thank you.
Michael says, can we email the PowerPoint? Yes. We can. I'll get it out to you. I got confused at the beginning because one of the slides at the beginning wasn't right. But we'll get you out the new one that has the pathways in it that I should have shared, and then I got thrown off of that 2+2 thing. So anyway.
Great. And so it's just the kind of communication that we're actually showing right here would be, we can get this sort of information to our students if we are just a little bit more proactive, aggressive about it, both through doing things like emailing consistently through Starfish and also, just talking with people, getting in contact. And that's really what intrusive advising is about. And I do realize that as a faculty member, you are going to hit certain walls. Sometimes students simply are never just going to read their email, but at least what you can do is capture a few students here, a few students there, and it does really add up. Any questions on this? Okay, here we go. All right, so in terms of sharing information, we do have a general studies advisory board. We meet once a semester and we talk about things like transferability, different programs that we are offered, changes to the programs, how are our students doing kind of generally across the board, what kind of new opportunities do they have once they leave SLCC, and what we can be doing at SLCC to benefit those students, to prepare them for their next steps. And this is the contact information for those other people who sit on that board at different universities, primarily ULL and NSU. They are happy to hear from you. If you would prefer that myself or Rebecca or Stasia or whoever reach out to them directly on your behalf, we are happy to do this for you as well. There's a lot of stuff that is happening for our students at other universities. Things like, I just found out recently, speaking with Whitney, who is the Assistant Director of Transfer and Reentry Recruitment at ULL, that the associate's degree scholarship at ULL is now not a 4-semester scholarship, but actually a 6-semester scholarship. So it's actually even better for our students and something we can use to talk to them about why they need to go ahead and just graduate here, right? It's extra money once you get to ULL to hopefully keep those graduation numbers up a little bit. Also, people like Emily Miller and Van Erickson have been incredibly generous about doing things like coming to SLCC or arranging visits for our students at their universities, really promoting their online programs at NSU. So there's a lot of things that we can do for our students to prepare them and get them ready for those next steps. And of course, we're happy to share all of that with you. And I've put some of the information on opportunities that they have here, like this is a major meeting request. So if a student is interested, say, in, I don't know, since I'm running with history this time, with being getting a history degree at ULL, well, they have a program. Basically what you can do is meet with faculty over there, right? You fill out this form, they can go over, they can meet, they can talk with people over there in that major. Also, we have the bridge program, which is when students at ULL, SLCC, can co-enroll at ULL. I think they have to take, I believe, 24 classes here first, but after they've taken 24 credit hours here, they can then co-enroll up to 2 classes at ULL while simultaneously being at SLCC, and actually have those classes at ULL at SLCC prices. So that's another big opportunity. And they have been very generous with their time to come to SLCC and promote these programs. We've seen a lot of progress in this in the last couple of years. So, yes, and that I believe concludes all of this. Do we have any general questions or anything else that you guys would like to discuss before we conclude the session?
I'd like to just read off the names of participants to make sure I have everybody that I'm going to email the PowerPoint to. So if I didn't say your name, please let me know. Daniel, Calhoun, Sarah, Ann, Brittany, Celeste, Christy, Kalita, Christy Lamel. I don't know if I said your name twice. Yeah, I used twice. Michael Pontiff, Michaela, Gandhi, Nahid, Olivia, Patrick, Paul Thomas, Stasia, Miss Uma, and Wilbert. Did I leave anybody off this list that I'm going to send the PowerPoint to? Okay, yeah, if you're in the meeting, Patrick, you'll get a copy. I think I just hopefully read everybody's name off correctly. So if I missed you, let me know and I'll be happy to get you a copy. Right. Okay, well, I guess we can wrap things up. If any last round of anybody have a question that we can answer? No? Okay. Thank you for attending this meeting on a Friday afternoon. We appreciate your time. We know you all are doing the best job you